Hi, in this video I'm going to teach you the simplest way to make a little bit of extra money with less than 10 minutes of effort. If you're new to this channel, my name is Min, and I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about money so you can worry less and enjoy life more. If you're looking to get rich quick, this is not the channel for you, but if you want to get wealthy for sure, then buckle in and hit that subscribe button. So over the course of your life, you'll have several bank accounts that you work with. For me, my very first bank account was when I was 10 years old and I had $100 to my name. So my dad took me to Bank of America of all places, and I started a bank account there. And like many of you, you probably have an account somewhere at Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, CITI Bank. And this might sound weird, but if you have a lot of money or even a little bit of money, you should not be saving too much in these banks. Instead, today I'm going to talk to you about online high-yield savings accounts. Maybe some of you have heard of these online banks before, but have been afraid or hesitant to open an account for whatever reason. But trust me, stick around to the end of the video, listen to what I have to say, and you'll make the easiest money of your entire life. So when I think about my Bank of America checking and savings account, I've had those for over 20 years. Not always using it, not always active, but I've always had some money in there. Now, as of June 2020, when I'm filming this, if you look at Chase, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo, they all have an interest rate of 0.01%. And when you do the math, it's completely pathetic. Take, for example, if you have $1,000 saved up in a savings account. Over the course of a year, that probably amounts to 10 cents of interest that you earn on that account. You might as well store your money in a shoebox under your bed. They might charge a lot of fees. They require you to maintain a minimum balance. They have very little perks and an interest rate that's almost next to nothing. Now, don't get me wrong, I still use a physical bank for my day-to-day needs when I need to use an ATM or get some quick cash, but the majority of my savings is actually saved online. Now, I want you guys to do a little bit of your own research, but I've done a lot of research for you here. But before you move your money around, please do your due diligence to make sure that these are the right banks for you. So let me go through 5 of the online banks that I'm familiar with that gives the best rates as of June 2020. As of the filming of this video, there are no fees of opening up these accounts, but still do your research. Like I mentioned earlier, when you think about a traditional bank with a 0.01% interest rate, compare that to these online banks that have a minimum of 1%. So take that same $1,000 example I mentioned before, where a traditional bank will result in a dime worth of interest over the course of the year, and you take that same $1,000 with an online savings account, that interest amounts to $10 a year. Now, that might not sound like a lot at first, but that will increase over time. Let's say you get to $10,000 saved. That's $100 per year you're getting at 1%. Let's say sometime in your life you'll get $100,000 saved. And trust me, that sounds like a lot now, but if you stick with me, you'll get there at some point. That $100,000 will generate at least $1,000 of interest at 1% minimum. Who wouldn't want an extra $1,000 every year for doing nothing, right? Even with $10,000 in your account, that extra $100 or $200 that you can earn a year is worth something. So here's my choice of top 5 online banks as of June 2020. The first one, and probably one of the most popular online banks, is Ally Bank. It's currently providing 1.1% annual interest. The second online bank on my list is American Express Savings, which is providing 1.15% annual interest. The third one I have on my list is Capital One 360. And this is a bank that I've used on and off over the years, but this is currently what I'm using to save most of my online money. Now, Capital One has a lot of different products, but the one I'm specifically using for my savings is the Performance Savings account, and I'll add some links down below for all this information. The fourth bank on this account has a little bit higher interest rate, and that one is Marcus by Goldman Sachs, currently hitting about 1.3% interest for the year. And the fifth bank I have on this list has the highest interest rate, the ones I've listed, and that is CITI Bank with 1.35%. So to really min-max your strategy around savings with online accounts, you have to keep a close eye on how interest rates fluctuate over time. For instance, I used to use Wealthfront, which had the highest for a while at 1.8 maybe earlier this year, but then the Fed cut their rates, which is what's used to determine interest rates for all banks, down quite a bit. And then rates have fluctuated ever since. So keep an eye on interest rates, keep an eye on different banks, and pick what you think makes sense for you. Now, I chose Capital 360 because I've done business with them before. I've had pre-existing accounts, so it's relatively easy for me to set up a new account, transfer my money over from my other accounts, and call it a day. The biggest thing to remember as you're researching online savings accounts is that they don't act like a regular savings or checking account. These online savings accounts are where you put your savings that you don't necessarily have to touch that often. So this could be your emergency fund or saving for a car or a house or other big purchases. You should still have your daily spending, your daily checking in a traditional bank, but don't put too much money in it and put everything else in your online bank. So another thing to keep in mind about these online high yield savings accounts is that there's a maximum number of transactions you can do per month. And I think that usually caps out about 6 per cycle, which I've never hit myself, but that's something for you guys to know. So my advice to you is to still use your regular accounts for your direct deposits, pay off your credit cards, pay off your mortgage, pay off your rents, pay off your bills, and the other savings you set aside every month, put that into your online savings account and save the money and earn extra money there. Now, if any of you are already using one of these online savings accounts, comment down below about which one and what your current interest rate is. If there's another bank that you totally love, also comment down below and let me know. Now, that was my list of my top 5 well-known and highly rated bank accounts, but there are several other lesser known accounts out there with higher interest rates. And while all the banks I list here, as well as in the comments down below, are FDI insured up to $250,000, I still want you to do your research in case you want to go with any of these options. The first one on my lesser known list is Live Oak Bank with 1.35% interest. My second one is VO Bank with 1.35% also. The third one I have on this list is a special one and only available to some of you, but that is T-Mobile Savings. Obviously, this is only available to T-Mobile customers, but you can save up to $3,000 in this account for 4% interest. And since we're T-Mobile customers, we do actually take advantage of this account. Then there's First Foundation Bank with 1.45%. And finally, there's a credit union called DCU Credit Union that has up to 6.17%, but only on your first $1,000. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you're not already doing this, this is the easiest money you could ever make in your life. And I wish I knew this when I was much younger. My only hesitation back then was I didn't know enough about these online accounts. I didn't do my own research. So I was afraid of using things that are online. Now, when I was younger, no one ever taught me about this, so I never knew these online banks existed. So I saved my money, and sometimes a lot of it, in these traditional banks, losing probably hundreds or thousands of dollars over the course of my life that I wish I had knew and had saved in online bank accounts. Now, if you're watching this video and you don't already have an online high yield savings account, I want you to do that right after you finish watching this video. I promise this will take you 10 to 15 minutes at max, but if you have any questions on how to do this, drop a comment below and I'll be glad to help you out. If this video brought you value, either figuratively or monetarily, smash that like button. And if you want to learn more about the basics of money, please consider subscribing for more videos just like this one. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. And until the next video, peace.